Now, should investors have enough confidence in the global recovery to put additional money into shipping stocks? And if so, which ones are likely to outperform? Urs Dur is a transport analyst and an expert in the world of shipping at Lazard Capital Markets. Urs, thank you very much for coming in. Thanks for being patient. Good to have you with us. Yes. Well, big news in the shipping industry, right? I mean, is there any life in the shipping business right now? Has it come back at all?
Yeah, absolutely. I think it's a stock picker's market if you want to get involved directly with stocks. But if you look at what is happening with the container business, it's up 61% from its lows coming into the United States, or throughput to the United States, as well as what is coming out of China is up quite strongly throughout the entire summer. I think in terms of the movement of boxes, that has been improving from the lows really hit earlier this year. That industry has a 30-year compound annual growth rate of 10% over 30 years.
So that would be good for like a C-SPAN?
That would be good for a C-SPAN. That would be good for a Danaos. And I do think that overall those industries, while struggling mightily right now, will recover and make it through. So you have to, again, be a stock picker, look for long-term contracts and good balance sheets.
When you talk about long-term contracts, so that makes me think of Diana. Right? I mean, this is one of the companies I know you follow, DSX, and the issue there is they might be able to take advantage of a lot of the new builds that come on the market that don't necessarily have contracts underneath them already.
Sure, it's a pure stock picker's stock. I mean, they have a cash balance sheet. They have negative net debt to cap. I do expect them to buy ships now that ship prices have come down significantly, and they have no issues with their banks. They're going to grow in the next 6 to 12 months, and the stock is relatively cheap now. So we consider that quite attractive. You do want to avoid highly leveraged companies now.
Companies with a lot of debt that may not be able to meet the debt covenants.
Debt against assets that have declined in value. So if you have a low leverage, you should be able to do well with the name as long as it's an attractive value now.
All right, let me just focus, if I can, on a unique situation, because this is about the liquefied natural gas. I want to get your thoughts on what's going on at Golar LNG, because they're going to do a spin-off of one of their areas of expertise, and talk a little bit about the need for this regasification and the technology that they're putting afloat to make this happen.
Sure. Golar is essentially a leader in the floating regasification of liquefied natural gas that's transported, and then it goes to a regasification plant and then goes into the pipelines to go to people's homes. By having a floating factory, per se, you can move it to where the gas is most needed. And that has been the biggest problem with permanent long-term factories. You couldn't move them, demand for gas changes, and prices are extremely volatile. It gives them a real opportunity. Golar LNG, here listed, is now a yield vehicle, has 5 long-term projects that will all be online by the end of next year, and has spun off what is called Golar Energy, which eventually will be listed on the Oslo Exchange. The yield right now that we project of their distributable cash flow is well over 10%, and the credits behind the projects generating the distributable cash flow are relatively high, either governments or oil majors such as Petrobras. So, quite attractive over the very long term.
Now, even though we have some version of depressed prices for natural gas, you're saying look to the long term and look at the actual contract life.
Yeah, well, natural gas is clean. We're looking at a need for energy going forward that is immense. It is abundant, and prices are low right now, but also the projects that are online that are liquefying gas to have it transported to go somewhere, and the projects needed on the regasification side exceed the capacity that's currently built to do it. So over the long term, there's upside for these projects. Golar is one of the few that has access to capacity that will allow them to be competitive with these projects, with much of the other capacity locked up in different contracts. So Golar's in a right place, right time, again, over the longer term.
Now, just to understand, when will we get that spin-off of Golar Energy? When should that be completed?
Golar Energy has already been spun off somewhat from Golar LNG, and Golar Energy will be the project arm, and that will be listed in Oslo. Golar LNG has already completed a portion of that. good point to pick up here is Golar LNG will spin off some of its Golar Energy shares to shareholders in the fourth quarter of this year.
In the fourth quarter?
Yeah.
All right. I want to thank you very much, Urs Dur, coming in from Lazard Capital, sharing your insight into the world of shipping and also some specialty shipping.
Thanks.
Thank you.